Kaya FC Iloilo has been the most dominant team in the PFL, having finished as league champions in the past 2 seasons. But lately, it seems to be a team that is a victim of its own success, being thrown into the lion's den of regional competitions. It struggled in the AFF Shopee Cup, having lost its first 2 matches, and in the AFC Champions League 2 lost its first 3 matches before winning its last match away with a 2-1 win against Eastern United FC not even 3 days ago in Hong Kong. Here in the Philippines Football League, it eked out a draw on a last-minute Martini Ray goal against Davao before it walloped Maharlika Taguig 4-1. Stallion Laguna, on the other hand, is a team that is hungry, always the bridesmaid but never the bride in the PFL. Their organizational frustration was eloquently articulated by their co-captain Matt Nieras, who said before the season, "I'm bleeping annoyed at watching everyone else win the PFL title." And so, heeding the call of their captain, Stallion has come out like gangbusters, tearing through its first few opponents. Good evening and welcome to the Rizal Memorial Stadium. I'm Dennis Lucindo, together with Jed Diamante, bringing you the match of the week on behalf of the PFL and Matchday Media. Hi, Jed. What do we have to expect for the next 90 minutes between Stallion and Kaya?
Well, definitely it will be a heated match now because both of the teams are really strong teams. Both of the teams are wanting to stay at the top of the table, and I think in the last outing of both teams, it was a heated match, and so we look forward to having that same kind of intensity coming from both teams.
Well, as a fan of football and a fan of the PFL, that's the sort of intensity we look for. But Kaya, it seems lately, has been very tired, and here we see what happened in the lone game they had last season, where it got very heated between both Stallion and Kaya. And although the teams respect themselves and the owners and principals respect themselves, off the pitch, on the pitch, these are two teams with lots of pride.
Yeah, lalabas yan. Lalo na yung emotions no, of really want as competitors. Both of these teams are like lions who really want to win, and lalabas yung emotions and yung tapang ng parehong kampo in this match today.
And, between the two teams, Kaya has played more games. It's played 8 games to date, 6 of which are against regional competitors, whereas Stallion has only played the 3 games in the PFL. How much does that weigh into their competitiveness tonight?
I think for Kaya, no, it can go both ways because while they get the experience of going against tougher opponents, which improves their experience, it can also be physically taxing for them. Kumbaga, it's as a competitor, talagang mapapagod ka rin. But on the other hand, kay Stallion, they have this momentum of winning the last 3 games, so I think they could continue building on that.
So after today's just concluded match and last night's matches, Stallion Laguna now sits second behind Taguig FC, although it's played 2 games less, and Kaya FC Iloilo sits fifth in the table, having played 2 games. But before we get more into the match, let's turn over to our pitchside reporter Sydney Crespo for her view of tonight's match.
Two powerhouses are set to face off for the first time this season in what promises to be an exciting PFL match. Both clubs have a winning history and remain undefeated this season. However, their coaches have shared different perspectives on tonight's match. Coach Ernie Nieras instills the same mindset: every game is important. Instead of overthinking things, he wants his players to play the system, focus on the now, and dictate based on tactical objectives. This is also to avoid putting extra pressure on his players. 3 new players, Baraja, Simpson, and Filipino player Alonzo Del Mundo will make their season debut. On the other side, Coach Yu described preparing for this match as a nightmare due to non-stop strategizing. The team just returned from Hong Kong 2 days ago and isn't fully recovered, he admits, but they're taking the challenge with a new starter in Konate Bandigu. He hopes that fresh legs will bring more hunger for victory. More from my end later, but for now, back to you guys.
Very much, Sydney Crespo, for that report. We now turn you over to the opening of this much-awaited match between Stallion Laguna and Kaya Iloilo.
We have our match officials for tonight, Clifford De Puyat, Nanyola, Pasion, and De Castro. De Castro, of course, is the fourth official, and the lead official is Clifford De Puyat, all veterans of the Philippine Football Federation refereeing corps. And the teams, of course, represented by their captains, Odi Menzi and Matthew Nieras. Starting for Stallion Laguna are Roberto Llamas in goal, Matt Nieras as right center back, Abe Placito in center back, Chris Papi Ivanovsky at left center back, Charles Pickering, Sendra, and Beaton completing the middle, Schaffner, Placito, and Magson Durado, and of course Finn McDaniel on the attacking line of Stallion Laguna. And for Kaya, we have Patrick Dato in goal, Jovin Bedic, Marwin Angeles, John Meliza, Shuto Komaki, Yi Yung Park, the Bundesliga veteran, Simone Rota, and making his debut tonight is Konane Bandiogu. Lucas Del Rosario gets the start. Odi Menzi wears the captain's armband, and Kaishu Yamazaki completes the lineup. So you were saying earlier, Jed, that you were talking about Konate Bandiogu. What are we expecting from this guy?
He's a relatively young player, but he's a solid player. Kumbaga. So this is his first outing for Kaya. I'm really excited to see him play as we play with him in the some community games back in Ateneo also. So it's great to see him on the big stage, finally playing in the starting lineup for Kaya.
So Kaya, of course, has been having a tough run of its games, but it did manage to eke out a 2-1 win last Thursday. So not even 72 hours ago in Mongkok, Hong Kong, playing against Eastern United FC. But in that win, they won it on 2 penalties. So offense is something that they've been clearly missing this season with the departure of Harvey Gayoso, who accounted for an average of a goal and a half last season. So what do you think? Where are they going to get their offense?
That's an interesting statistic. No, 1.5 goals average per game for Harvey Gayoso, and so far I think they haven't filled that gap. It's those are tough shoes to fill, so to speak. But I think that just goes to show that Kaya has to double up their effort on the attack and try to make more convincing wins in this season if they want to stay on top.
Well, the Harvey Gayoso we knew. You didn't have to fill both shoes. You just needed to fill the left shoe. Just the left shoe.
He would score a lot. And this is Konate.
Giving it away to Ricky Sendra, a veteran of many PFL seasons and formerly of the now defunct United City FC. And before that, he did play for this Kaya squad.
He's a rock for his current team right now. He has been making those plays. He has been dictating much of their matches, and kumbaga, he's just a strong force to be reckoned. Dorado on the left side, on the other hand, is also very quick. He's been lethal in a lot of their previous games, so we look forward also to how he will be of impact for his team this time around.
Well, Magson Dorado is a Brazilian, and he's actually in his mid-30s already, but the way he runs against all of the defenses he's faced this season in the PFL, you wouldn't think that he is in his mid-30s.
Parang hindi pa nga 20 yung the way he plays.
Hindi,
really
medyo
quick.
batang-bata gumalaw si Magson. Saka, he's really feared. You ask any right back that he's faced this season, they're afraid when he's coming at you. But you know what he's going to do, but you're not able to anticipate it fully. He's a player who has a tendency of taking the ball outside, and every right back knows that.
You'd always be at least 2 steps behind.
And that's something that this is quite a senior Kaya defense that we're seeing, of course, anchored by Simone Rota, the Philippine national team veteran and the veteran of many PFL and UFL campaigns, but he's getting up there in years. He's past his mid-30s already. So, taking 2 steps back is something that you will see from him tonight.
Siguro in terms of experience, that's something that the backline of Kaya can give. Definitely, if they've been playing a lot of years now with this kind of physicality, they would know how to manage their current physical status. But yeah, it will be a very tricky situation for Kaya's right back.
And speaking of physical status, Abe Placito, a physical specimen in a class of his own, gets in the way of Jovin Bedic there to stop the Kaya attack, and we have a throw-in from Bandiogu, your favorite, your marked player for tonight. Danger there, shot, but very, very off target.
So far in the first 5 minutes, we've seen Kaya bringing the pressure on the side of Stallion. So the game hasn't really settled down yet.
No clear possession, no clear build-up yet. Just a few half chances, and the ball and the field's about to get a little slick, with more than a slightly heavy drizzle coming in, and that's going to make this game very interesting. Chris Schaffner passing it forward to Charles Pickering. Yamazaki with a timely tackle to end that attack before it crosses the half.
I will say this prediction now, with this kind of weather and the history between these two teams. Now, if ever it will become heated later, where it will add more fuel to the fire, this kind of weather and this kind of playing conditions.
Okay, so you're not predicting a scoreline. You're predicting tempers flaring in this game, and a wet pitch, wet balls, wet shoes makes their movements a little less precise.
Yes.
So, and it also encourages more sliding tackles than usual.
For the defenders, it will be a little bit. It takes a little more, skill to anticipate these slick balls. Definitely, kasi iba yung galaw ng bola, iba yung galaw ng lalo na mga tao, because you're carrying extra weight with your jersey being wet. So,
and maybe that wetness is what caused a wayward ball from the back from somebody you're familiar with, Patrick Dato. That rain is getting a little harder.
That is nothing. We really didn't expect this kind of weather today, but nevertheless, play goes on, and so far the conditions are just getting worse here at the Rizal Memorial Stadium.
So Patrick Dato from your alma mater playing the ball from the back. Did you play together with Pat?
No, he played with my older brothers, but when I came in, he already graduated. But I did get the pleasure to play with one of my brothers. Unfortunately, yung eldest namin, he graduated when I came in.
Okay.
So it would have been 3 Diamante brothers playing for the same team. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But yeah, it's also great. Matthew Nieras also coming from
De La
La
Salle,
Salle
yes.
University. So
Yes.
a lot of UAAP standouts are gracing the field
So
in the Philippine Football League.
it seems that there are multiple Diamante brothers who play the sport. Are you competing with Clarinos in terms of how many footballing brothers there are?
Well, to be fair, tatlo lang kami, and they are much more in terms of population.
I think there are 9 of them.
9, well,
I know of at least 3 or 4 who play.
who play, yeah. Well, in fact, we have a younger sister who's also from De La Salle who plays football as well. She played in for DLSU in last year's UAAP season. So that's 4 of us there.
Okay, so conditions becoming more difficult. Not only is there rain, there's a fair bit of wind. If you're seeing the screen, the rainfall is going diagonally from left to right.
It seems like it's going in favor of Stallion at this point, because the wind's pushing to the right side. Yeah.
That's a very good point. So it might be something that encourages a few more shots from distance as Abe Placito tries to get control of the ball, passing it left to Ivanovsky. Ivanovsky, one of the shiftiest most skillful players I've seen in the PFL of late. But gave it away, and that looks like it was Charlie Beaton who gave it away to John Meliza. Again, Ivanovsky in the right place at the right time, playing it out to the left to Magson Dorado. Magson bringing it up against that looks to be Yi Young Park. Again, visibility is getting worse as we speak, and some worrying lightning flashes in the distance. And there we have that shot from distance from Ricky Sendra, and the wet ball being a bit hard to handle for Pat Dato, and you can see him squinting as the rain is going into his face. So you're right on several counts there. The wind is going to help the ball, but it's also going to help distract Pat Dato with the rain coming into his face.
Yeah, and I think it was just kumbaga tama lang yun for Ricky Sandra, although he was way off. He took that chance because, again, with these conditions, anything can happen. And as of late, Patrick Dato hasn't really been tested yet in this game. So taking those shots early and from afar could just spell out a goal for you.
And there we could see a clear example of the ball hanging up in the air to the benefit of the Stallion defense. That ball was headed into the area of Roberto Llamas, but the rain and the wind held it up just enough, and Magson Dorado tackled there by Yi Young Park.
What a tackle from Yi Young Park. And as a football player, these are some conditions that I hate playing in, because especially if I'm in the shoes of Kaya, because I'm running against those heavy, and it looks like heavy rain droplets. Sometimes get painful. So talagang the lack of visibility, plus the pain that you experience while playing around. These are tough conditions right now.
Tough if you're playing right to left, which Kaya is doing right now in the ball.
Though they have been making these attacks.
And again, the ball checking up just enough for Abe Placito to get it its way. Ivanovsky clearing it out from the back. Only as far. I cannot see who that is playing right back for Kaya. A chance here. And Roberto Llamas and Abe Placito tag teaming to get in the way of Joven Beric. Just pretty much sitting on that ball.
Against all these conditions, Kaya has been playing pretty well.
Considering they are literally playing against the wind.
They have another opportunity to attack. On the right side.
On the right side, that looks to be Shuto Komaki playing on the right. So Kaya with a pair of Japanese nationals in their starting lineup. And the referee did whistle, though we're only hearing rain. So it's the gestures of the referee have to be more pronounced, because conditions are very difficult here at the historic Rizal Memorial Stadium.
This gives Kaya an early opportunity to get the lead. A free kick, relatively close. And again, with these conditions, konting daplis lang sa bola in a different direction you're not expecting it to can be very difficult.
They do have to take their chances, because Stallion Laguna has shown to be the stingiest defense in this 2024-2025 PFL season. They've only conceded one goal, I think. One or two. Two at the most.
But their attack, one of the also more potent attacks.
Very, very potent. Although their last game was against the Philippine youth national team, and that's dangerous. But Ricky Sendra in the right place at the right time, headed forward by Charles Pickering, only as far as Charlie Beaton. So there are a number of Charles and Chris's on this team. And that ball going towards Patrick Dato with the wind.
That is very concerning. Some lightning going on. Really
Lucas Del Rosario looking to take on Abe Placito. Abe getting his big boot in the way. Shot from distance by Jan Meliza, it looks like.
Just couldn't get the contact that he wanted. Probably the ball slowed down as he was about to kick it.
So these conditions very difficult for organized play. And Roberto Llamas taking a little more time on the ball, getting his bearings, letting his teammates get their bearings. Hard to see, hard to control. And that's an unmarked Bedic, but who was offside, says the far linesman.
Kaya has been holding the 4-1-4-1 formation, even in attack and defense. So far they've been able to control the very potent attack of Stallion thus far. But let's see as Stallion tries to make an attack on the left side.
You know, these conditions will not only be a test for both teams, it's also going to be a test for the equipment. Our official match ball, of course, is provided by Sports Tribe, and this is going to be the first really wet game that we're going to see this ball. And you know, some balls have a tendency of getting a bit waterlogged and heavy. So let's ask the players after how the ball felt.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that. Let's try to get some.
Okay, miscontrol there from Roberto Llamas. Again, wet conditions off the pass, but nobody from Kaya threatening Roberto. So you were saying,
yeah, we should get some feedback from these players after the game.
yes, because you know I played the sport. I played the sport at the time when these black and white Mikasa balls were in vogue, and they were terrible. They were terrible
I
in
bet
these
they were really
conditions.
slippery.
They were either really slippery or they'd get very heavy. But when they're dry, they're also very hard.
Hard.
So you know, heading those balls, I think, cost my present mental state.
And to add to that, I actually, in one of my games in the youth, I got a black eye from a black and white Mikasa ball.
So
That's how.
one of the black panels transferred to your
Yeah.
eye. But you know, so the referees are calling a stoppage to this. Let's try to get some information from our local organizing committee as to the reason for this stoppage. It might be the lightning. It's not pitch conditions yet because we're not seeing large puddles of water. So hold a minute while we try to get an update on the cause for this stoppage. And we're back to the Rizal Memorial Stadium. The weather has cleared. This is Dennis Lucindo calling the game for you on behalf of the Philippines Football League and Matchday Media. Together with me is Manong Jed Diamante. And we were reminiscing about his days from that OK school that I can see from my vantage point. It's a pretty good school.
Yeah, the grass is greener on that side.
Good thing I went to UP for college. But the game was called off at 15 minutes initially because of visibility. And even if the rain had started to clear, there was lightning overhead. So for safety reasons, the referees and the local organizing committee of the PFF decided to withhold resuming the match right away. But we're back with Patrick Dato kicking things off.
These are much better playing conditions, although the pitch might have some puddles here and there.
As the grounds crew and the ball boys cleared it, as Janjan Melissa trying to get past. That looks like Charlie Beaton, who tracked back to cover for Chris Ivanovsky.
With Kaya's attacking prowess early on the game, despite the conditions, ano lang kaya pwede lang gawin with this better playing pitch?
Well, as we were saying early in the broadcast, the attacking is something that has been missing from Kaya, and it's good to see them pressing forward against Stallion. As this ball is whipped in, curving in for Janjan Melisa, and he's back. He's at the touch to receive the ball back. Offside, says the far linesman, foiling that ambitious bicycle attempt by Jovin Bedic. And now Ivanovsky bringing the ball up in this 3-5-2 formation of Coach Ernie Nieras and Stallion Laguna FC. It's Stallion's turn to attack. Ivanovsky to Placito. Placito faking a pass to Nieras. Back to Ivanovsky. Dribbling through 3 defenders as if they weren't there. Spraying it wide to Christian Schaffner. Schaffner back to Charles Pickering. Now to the veteran Ricky Sendra. And that's Leo up against Lucas Del Rosario. Dispossessed. Bendogu. Del Rosario. Now options left and right. Decided to hold the ball a little too long, but might have been long enough. Key save. Not a save, but cutting off the cross by Roberto Llamas.
What a build-up, and there are at least 2 players from Kaya waiting at the top of the smaller box. What a great save by Roberto Llamas just to keep things leveled. But Kaya really was doing a good job doing a build-up all the way from that dispossession from their half.
So Roberto Llamas has gotten the starting goalkeeper position of Stallion Laguna. Roberto is a El Salvadorian immigrant to America.
Well, so far in the past games of Stallion, he has been playing really, really well.
Yes, he earned himself actually a man of the match plum a few weeks ago. Napakalisto, and what I hear from the players, he's also a bit of a glue guy para sa siya yung nagyaya sa kanila laging gumimik.
Yeah, off-pitch chemistry can be translated on the field, and that's something that's really important when you're trying to build not just a roster but really a team.
And that's what I hear about this Stallion Laguna team. And it's a mix of foreigners and Filipinos, but everybody across the lineup get along. They're also very close with their women's team, of course, who are playing in the PFF Women's Cup. And that diagonal ball looking to find Chris Schaffner from Chris Ivanovsky. Lots of Chris's and Charles on this team. There are two Chris's on the pitch right now for Stallion and 2 Charleses.
You gotta keep our names in check.
I know. So there, of course, is on the left, in the left center back position is Chris Ivanovsky. Park. Placito stealing the ball off the foot of Shuto Komaki. Little afters going on between Bedic and Placito. So kahit naulanan sila, hindi lumamig ang kanilang kainitan sa isa't isa. Ooh. Magson Dorado flattening. Who did he flatten? He flattened Odi Menzi.
That was a great effort for Stallion Laguna's side. I have noticed that they've been hitting the left side, Maxon Dorado, who they expect to either bring the ball down the line, give those low balls, or just cross it earlier, expecting a lot of strikers on top.
So he's been very effective there on the left side. That ball played back, and Finn McDaniel flattened by the Simone Rota attempt at a long ball. Placito timing his challenge well. Yancy to Magson to Ivanovsky to Sendra. Now back to Magson on the left. Sizing up his opponent, cutting it back to Yancy Beaton to Sendra.
They are finding those really small gaps in between the defenders of Kaya, but Kaya finds their way, get it back. Unfortunately, just gifts it, so to speak.
So now Stallion with a spell in their attacking half. Let's see what they can do with it. Magson cut it inside, looking to find Leo. Magson with a long shot and off target. But Stallion now looking to threaten, so the winds have shifted.
They've brought the attack on the ground, and for the past minute, everything was just played in that small space on the far right side of the screen. So they were trying to play it in quick, short and quick. Something that they are known to do in previous games.
Pickering's clearance was out of touch the whole way. Bandogo with the throw in.
Great piece of work. Ricky Sandra making his presence felt right there.
And earning himself a warning from our referee Clifford.
Let's see that again.
Daipuyat
Just out of nowhere, from out of the screen.
into the hip of Lucas Del Rosario. Lucas Del Rosario, of course, came into the league through Maharlika FC last season. Chris Schaffner was another player that came through that team 2 years ago before transferring to Stallion. Park and Rota taking positions on the far side of the penalty box. So, despite being a new player, a debuting player, Bendiogo is taking these free kicks, which means they've seen something in him in the training sessions prior to this match.
He delivers it well.
Placito up for the challenge.
Teammates want to get it back. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 Kaya players at the top of the box.
Yes, Stallion looked dangerously undermanned there, but that ball to Chris Schaffner trying to get to Finn McDaniel, but Jan Melissa playing the unfamiliar role of center back for Kaya in that set. Of course, the tall boys were up in the attacking box for the cross, which left Jan Melissa covering the back. And he did it very well. Now this ball sprayed wide to Chris Schaffner. Chris looking for the run of Charles. Back to Ricky. Now to the captain, Matt Nieras. Pickering. Sendra finding the head
of Schaffner in a shoulder-to-shoulder battle called by the linesman as a foul. Not much there. Little shoulder-to-shoulder action.
Konate just trying to
Slight
stop
grab.
it. Not much of a challenge, actually, but kind of a light call from the referee.
Yes, and well, the whistle is blown and they can never suck it back in. But that thwarted a promising piece of action from Stallion's right side. Oh, difficult for Roberto, but he is up to the task. Leo undersized against Yamazaki. Lucas, cheeky back heel, offside though.
Just caught him a little bit too late. That pass.
Offside was Marwin Angeles. So reset for Stallion. Nieras.
Interestingly, Kaya is holding a relatively high line. They're already engaging Stallion, even at their own half. But this is where Stallion is dangerous on the transition.
Cut back. Past Finn McDaniel. And you have to wonder, will Kaya pay the price for that high line? I mean, we've said before the broadcast, Kaya is looking quite old and a little tired, a little worse for wear. And that sort of high line is something that more youthful and energetic teams will employ.
I think it's really a matter of can they sustain that high line throughout this game. But it was, in this case, punished because, again, with the prowess of Stallion in terms of being a transition team in attack, they will want to exploit that kind of a high line if they catch Kaya, lacking in that sense.
And I think the most vulnerable person in that high line on this Kaya lineup is Simone Rota playing that central defender role, because as his forwards press, he's expected to push up that line. But if he has to turn and give chase to somebody like, Magson Dorado or Finn McDaniel, I mean, his legs aren't as young as they used to be.
I think that's where the, how should I call this? The experience should come in, trying to know how to position himself in those kinds of situations.
So, daanin na lang sa gulang.
Gulang. Yeah. I think that's also a better term to describe the situation. Or better yet, call in a teammate who knows that can run against them and just positioning himself within those gaps that have been left.
Okay, so handball there for Jovin Bedic. And also, Abe Placito playing the center back role for Stallion is a bit of a shift. Last season, he was playing more of a midfielder role, but now with Ricky Sendra, they have the luxury of putting him in center back, which is a position he's been strong at, given that they've not conceded a lot of goals this season, and it allows it allows Abe to lead from the back, be the one to distribute from the back, an extra distributor over there. But as I say that, Abe also has that tendency to be caught a little too wide, a little too far from his position, and that left them exposed for that attack, which Roberto Llamas turned away.
Just to add to what you were saying a while ago, having Abe at the center with Ricky Sendra, supports that backbone of Stallion. Unfortunately, he gave the ball away here, giving an opportunity for Kaya for that shot, who again was stopped by Roberto Llamas.
Roberto Llamas again very alert. It wasn't quite on goal, but he parried it down, parried it to the right place. So in that sequence, we saw both the best and the worst of Abe Placito. I mean, in that sequence, his tendencies as a midfielder came out a bit too much, and that left them exposed. So it's a double-edged sword.
It's kind of knowing how to find that balance in between.
Ricky Sendra against Yamazaki. Magson controlling for himself. Bringing it out to touch. Back to Ivanovsky. Ivanovsky, a steady force and a new presence in that left center back position. Usually that's where Matt Nieras would be. But for the past few games, Matt has been switched to the right.
Right side, yep.
And I'm told it's because Chris Ivanovsky, or Papi as he's called by his teammates and friends, is a bit more two-footed. And actually, in past games, he's displayed some skill that have left everybody with their jaws on the floor.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say the same thing.
He had that game where he flicked it. He flicked it with the back of his heel to himself.
That's just things that you do when you're really good at it.
Yeah.
You don't just try it out for the first time in these high-level games. So it's really his football personality, so to speak.
Yeah, and speaking of personality, he's also quite a friendly guy with the brightest smile in the PFL I've seen. You know, when this guy smiles at you, you better be wearing your sunglasses, as that chance from Charlie Beaton. Nothing solid behind it, but only as far as Ivanovsky, again, anticipating where that ball will go. Magson doing what he does best, taking on players. Yancy, back to Ricky, to Papi. Papi with a step over, but Kaya not biting. Back to Abe. Abe with a chance to switch it to the right. And that looks to have irked Matt Nieras a bit. Ball getting to Schaffner. Nope, no foul there, says referee Daipuyat.
But he makes up for it, nevertheless. Luckily for Konate in that sequence. Both Konate and Schaffner have been busy this evening on that right side. They have been going at it. As we have just passed the 30-minute mark of the game.
So Chris Schaffner of Stallion Laguna was also in the radar of the men's team a few windows ago. Very hardworking guy who also manages to coach in St. Teresa's College in between practice sessions. High foot there, called against Matt Nieras.
There's just something about having these intense games. You can't. He knew what was up.
He
knew what was up. He was just going after the ball. Just
quickly apologizing to Joven Bedikov. I mean, both of them veterans of this league. And ultimately, and that's a dangerous cross. Headed by Shuto Komaki, but again, Roberto Llamas in the right place at the right time, calmly putting two hands up, thumbs together.
Roberto Llamas just saying, it will take more than that to get past me. The play was great as it is, but it wasn't enough to get past him.
So Finn McDaniel shifting to Leo. Leo to Chris. Chris cutting it back, hitting Bandiogu. Ricky Sendra to Leo. Leo wayward to Charles, and that killed the momentum. Time for a reset at Stallion. All the way back to Placito.
Great work from Stallion just from that attack. Calmly shifts it back. Just regains the possession. Not rushing anything.
That sequence showed, the maturity of Stallion. Oh, good through ball by Schaffner to Leo. Leo, though, not quick enough for it. And
Ball's in play.
Ball's in play. But only Bedic was up to play the ball. Kaya maybe looking a bit tired. They've rotated their players a bit.
The possession
this
hasn't
game.
been that far off, 53-47 in favor of Stallion, who the past few minutes have been taking over the control of the game.
Papi changing the point of attack to Matt. Control there, not good enough to get it past Lucas Del Rosario.
Kaya so far holding Stallion off, especially since Stallion has been attacking left, right, and middle.
Chance and Melissa. Bested by Charlie Beaton. Charlie to Magson. Magson sizing up. Park taking a long shot again. Charlie now back to Abe. Abe to his favorite pass recipient, Ivanovsky. Magson now cutting inside, crossing the ball. Beautiful cross, but just offside from Chris Schaffner. And you kind of hate to see that. I mean, where Chris was, he was facing down the line. Ooh.
I think just his angle, looking at the ball, he wasn't able to anticipate the movement of the defender, the Kaya defender there. So it was
Well,
just, I think, really, really slim offside.
Slim to none. You know, hindsight and replays are much better, are easier. It's easy to judge on a replay, but at that moment, the linesman decided to give it offside. Placito, upper body strength.
2v1.
Yamazaki. Bedic now on that right side. Marvin Angeles creeping up the middle. Placito. Body shape,
Physicality.
body shape, positioning, and a 45-inch chest getting the better of, who is that? That looks to be Jovin Bedic.
There was no chance he was going to get the ball away from Placito.
Yeah, that looks to be the benefit of benching 300 pounds. So we can see before that kick is taken, Abe Placito barking out instructions to his team, wanting to see more and better movement from his midfield. Nieras with space on the right. Schaffner going for the run. But your boy, Bendiogu, anticipating it. Ricky Sandra. Beaten there by Shuto Komaki.
Bit impatient there. But that just gives the ball back to Stallion, who we know when they're trying to build up, they're not rushing things. But in this case, they were dispossessed by Kaya.
And one thing we haven't seen a lot of in this match are shots from Finn McDaniel. I mean, it's he's not making it hard. Now the ball getting ricocheting to Bedic, trying to get it through to Shuto Komaki. Ivanovsky doing enough to make sure Shuto doesn't get it.
But for both teams, what I've seen the past 39 minutes of this game, they can be dangerous both on build-up in the middle or also in transition, quick transition such as that, because they both have the runners on the sides. Just more of a question of the quality of the finish.
So Jan Melissa looking to deliver an in-swinger, as he's done with all of the corners from that side of the pitch. Placito and Llamas both going for the ball. Placito getting to it. Magson there to receive the second ball. Bendiogo looking on the left side. Dangerous for Nieras, but backpedaling well and enough to cover. Rota with an overhead kick.
Kaya just manages
Leo
to
setting it.
keep it away from their side despite those scrambles.
And as we've yet to see a good shot from Finn McDaniel in this match, this is a situation where faced with a center back like Simone Rota, who's played 8 games, and at his age, this is a game where he should be testing him, testing those 38-year-old legs. Oh! And a beautiful shot from the right foot of Magson Durado, just sailing maybe a yard over the crossbar. That came from Ricky Sendra.
Took advantage of that little height of the ball, try to make it drop, but just didn't drop quick enough.
Beautiful connection from Argentina to Brazil.
Some South American
South American
things
connection
brewing
there.
here. And I think that's one thing about Simeone Rota. He's not giving you that space, even though he might not be as quick as he was before, but he eats up your space, just like here. He doesn't let you control the ball and turn, take those shots.
Well, maybe there's something to all that pasta that adds to the longevity of these Italian-born and Italian-raised players, right? I mean, you have guys like Simone Rota, or in the Serie A before, Paolo Maldini, who played forever.
They're just built different.
They're built different, and they're built tough, these Italians. John Melisa now popping up in the left center midfield position.
If we put a heat map on Jan Melisa's movements, he's been all around.
He just pops up everywhere on this pitch. Bandiogo showing good positioning. That header, Bedic over. Ooh, dangerous here. Again, Roberto Llamas, open goal! And that is a goal for Kaya Iloilo FC. For Shuto Komaki. Roberto Llamas caught way off his line, sliding in at the edge of the box to challenge. His teammates not there to cover for him.
He took advantage of that scramble just at the top of the box. Let's take a look at that one again.
Marvin Angeles challenged by Roberto Llamas. Placito coming in. Roberto actually played it past Abe Placito into the waiting right foot of Shuto Komaki, who took advantage of an open net.
He wanted to bring it back to the box for him to pick up, but
and nothing that Matt Nieras could do there. Full extension to try to keep the ball from crossing the line. Not good enough for that very calmly and well-placed shot of Shuto Komaki.
right place and right time.
Right place, right time, and calm nerves. As I've never seen a Japanese player in the PFL not be calm. They're very zen.
They bring it even to their style of play. And I think that's something that's also translated by their head coach, Coach Yoshide. As a player before, you could also see he controlled the middle with zen and that calmness. And it's really just something that the Japanese have.
Well, Coach Hoshide only has one expression, and that is no expression.
No expression. Yeah.
But another thing that I love seeing from these Japanese players is that in warm-ups, they do warm-ups with a mindfulness, right? They're going through the motion precise. I mean, they're going through what needs to be done with a precision, and that's something I wish more of our local players would see and emulate. Marami sa mga player natin dito pag warm-up, basta magawa lang eh.
Yeah, it's more of para just to get through it, or yeah, I think ginagalaw ko naman yung paa ko. It's not really about
Nakadaan naman ako sa cones, but as we say that, another attack, only getting as far as Yancy. Pickering with a missed clearance. The pressure still on them. Janjan leveled by Placito, who is several weight classes above Janjan.
If there would be a replay, kitang iwan talaga yung katawan ni Janjan after that collision.
I mean, seeing Janjan Melissa go against Abe Placito, it's like seeing Onyok Velasco up against Mike Tyson.
See that again. There you go. Just getting that past that wall.
That was a tree trunk of a leg that Placito stuck out, and there's no way Janjan's getting past that.
Nevertheless, that gives Janjan, who is stepping up to the ball, a chance to double their lead.
Well, and Janjan, of course, is also a former Stallion player. But it was Park who took it, and who took it over the bar from the former Bundesliga player, Park Yi-young. So we're in stoppage time of the first half, of which the referee gave 2 minutes. Thankfully, just 2 minutes. And we're 30 seconds away from what should be the halftime whistle.
It has been one of the longest first halves in this season so far.
Placito doing enough to bother Janjan.
Konate getting that interception.
And there it is, the halftime whistle. Expect to be needing earplugs in the Stallion Laguna dugout at the half. Coach Ernie Ñaras won't be happy with this 1-0 deficit in the first half. And Coach Yuhoshide will be encouraging his boys to do more of the same for the next 45 minutes. Catch us in a few minutes as we take a break from this match between Stallion Laguna FC and Kaya Iloilo FC. And we're back for the halftime update of this very exciting but prolonged Stallion Laguna versus Kaya FC Iloilo match. And we have Kaya Iloilo ahead 1-0 on a Shuto Komaki placed shot of a Roberto Llamas tackle. And here we have the highlights. Magson Dorado challenging on that left half. Ricky Sendra with a long range shot when the rain was coming down very hard. Through ball there to Joven Bedic, which both Abe Placito and Roberto Llamas got in the way of. That was an overhead kick from Bedic that was offside. Lucas Del Rosario waiting a little too long to cross the ball to Joven Bedic. Marwin to Bendiogu to a header by Shuto Komaki. So we see from these replays that the back three of Stallion Laguna is being tested and holes are being poked in them.
Yeah, I think, and that's what Kaya has been capitalizing on or trying to look for. And this goal actually came from there after having less men behind when Kaya was trying to transition. They just have a little less people that they wanted to just stop that attack. But nevertheless, throughout those highlights, we saw that both teams had their opportunities. 7 shots for Kaya and 3 shots for Stallions. But looking at the possession, nothing really separates both teams. So just Stallion also taking advantage of those attacks, both on the left, the right, and on the center of the pitch. But Kaya also has been creating those attacks in the center. So aside from the scoreline of 1-0, both teams are very much into this competition still.
And at this point, we'd like to bring you an update from our pitch side reporter under the stands, Sydney Crespo.
Before our match started, Coach Ernie shared that he wished they had played more games leading up to tonight's clash with Kaya FC. Ideally, if not for the typhoon last October 27, including that rescheduled game or match against Davao, so they can get as much experience as possible. Stallion Laguna's original plan tonight was not to concede any goal to Kaya FC, knowing Kaya's strength in maintaining possession. As Coach Ernie describes, Kaya kills time, and we don't want to find ourselves playing catch-up. However, he emphasized that this plan will require patience to work as a group, well, more so now that they are down at the half. While defending well is important for Kaya, and Coach Yu is proud of his goalkeeper Dato's new opportunity in the national team, he told his other players to show extra effort in embracing their offensive identity tonight and commit to their attacking play. What do you think so far, gentlemen?
I think that covers for what we've been discussing earlier on in the game, that Kaya looks lacking in terms of attack, but their coach has been trying to solicit that commitment from their players to try to shift their mindset towards attacking, and so far it has been proving well for them throughout those clear attempts that they've had throughout this game.
And at the bottom of your screen, you can see 2 Stallion substitutes preparing to come in. The first is Kenshiro Daniels, another veteran of the Philippine men's national team. He didn't start today because he's been held out from practice the past few days with a stomach bug. And Cheyenne Charalaghi coming in. So Kenshiro, of course, is listed as a local, so he'd be expected to come in for a Filipino player, and Cheyenne is listed as a foreigner. So let's see who they come in for.
Looks like Leonardo Barajas will be taken off.
And that's
also an addition for Kaya.
So both midfielders, both attacking midfielders taken out by Coach Ernie Nierjas, Leonardo Barajas and Charlie Beaton, replaced by Kenshiro Daniels and Cheyenne Charalagi. And for Kaya, who came in, Jed?
Trying to get confirmation as well.
It looks to be this player here on the right side of the half line, number. No, that's still Shuto Komaki. So no substitutes, it seems, at this point for Kaya Iloilo FC as we come back to the action in the second half of this last game on a rainy Sunday night. Again, the ball played over the right back. Roberto Llamas making himself big and in the way of Jan Melisa. As we take a look at that ball played over the back line, Jan trying to just lift it over Roberto Llamas. Roberto staying upright, staying big, doing what goalkeepers should do. Magson hit hard by Park. Marwin.
Not even a minute into the second half, and Kaya already trying to increase their chances of doubling that lead.
So the intended effect of that Stallion set of substitutions not yet apparent. So this back line of Kaya from right to left is Park, Rota, Menzi, and Bandogu. And it's held up. So with Cheyenne coming in, Abe Placito has now taken an attacking midfield role behind Finn McDaniel.
That was to reinforce their defensive line from earlier this half. Abe Placito now can try to dictate and be more involved on the attack.
Abe Placito forcing a pass to Finn McDaniel. It wasn't there. Roberto Llamas now has to come out of to the edge of his box to reset. Cheyenne now playing the role that Placito vacated. So we do have a confirmation of a substitution for Kaya Iloilo FC. That looks to be Daizo Horikoshi coming in for Jovin Bedik. So Placito moving up to the attacking midfield spot now. In that last sequence, we saw a bit more defense from that spot. And now Magson cutting inside, shaping for a shot. Placito arguing that the ball was tipped. Referee says no. Dito.
That's what's dangerous about Magson. He can bring the. You're never too sure if he's gonna bring the ball down the line and cross it, or just cut it in and try to take a shot. He's dangerous that way.
This game, actually, I've seen him cut it in more times than he ever has for the past few games. Typically, we see him preferring to push out to his left foot and beat the defender to the end line. Ivanovsky versus Komaki. That Kaya attack still there. Jan to Marwin. Marwin through ball. Finds Yamazaki. Yamas fully stretched for that save to his left. There we see Melisa to Angeles. To Yamazaki. Left-footed shot. Roberto Llamas.
His heroics, despite the 1-0 deficit, still keeps the scoreline as is.
His heroics have kept Stallion Laguna in it, but it was also a bit of his mistake why they're down 1-0. That came off Placito's head to the left-hand touch. Should be Kaya with a throw-in. So Coach Hoshide has found something that the other three teams that Stallion has gone up against weren't able to expose, and that's the gaps in this back three of Stallion Laguna.
The attacks of Kaya, while they have loaded a lot of players, the players that were attacking those gaps were too quick, I think, for the defense of Stallion. That's why they were able to break it down.
Lucas Del Rosario keeping his feet to keep that challenge on by the end line. Bandiogo all the way up there for the throw-in.
They play quick.
Foul, says the referee. Called on Matt Nieras on that far side. I'm sorry, that's Charles Pickering with the foul. On Shuto Komaki. So often we see these free kick takers put up one hand or two. What does it mean, Jed? And are they really able to do it?
It's a training ground thing. You know, they're trying to call a certain play that they've already rehearsed during the training. So it can be one hand for a short ball, two hands for a long ball. It really depends on how you train it. But yeah, it doesn't really mean something standard. It's just to let your teammates know that this is the play that I'm trying to call.
Okay, Ivanovsky tried to find Magson. So far in this contest, Magson has had the best of Park Yi-young. But even that hasn't been good enough to score a goal.
Park Yi-young keeping him at bay.
Pickering, Schaffner challenging Rota. Rota's clearance finding Lucas Del Rosario. Ivanovsky claiming Stallion ball. Quick throw. Too quick, not getting past Yamazaki. Sandra. Medyo may sundot dun galing kay Ricky Sandra. Sabi ni Clifford Daipuyat, malayo sa bituka. Simone Rota. Veteran moves, putting arm on shoulder of Abe Placito. And several times this match I've said, Simon Hirota is 38 years old. I was corrected. And he actually turned 40 4 days ago. So, fountain of youth.
Doesn't play like a 40-year-old, but
No,
still
not
playing
by
at
far.
this level.
Little danger there. Turned away by the birthday boy, Simon Hirota. Now, Cheyenne challenged. Matt Nieras chasing a ball, deflected. Matt to Roberto. Roberto with the outside of his foot, quickly spraying it to Magson. Park Yi-young jumping over Magson. Watch that matchup because something is going to happen there.
That something can be anything from something physical or something.
Yes,
that's
with every challenge, Park Yi-young leaving a little something for Magson Dorado.
And you did mention early on that Magson has been getting the most of Park Yi-young, but I think he heard you and he's saying, nope, you gotta turn things around.
Well, still 35 minutes to go in this matchup. A lot can happen. And for those who don't remember or who weren't watching, that flare-up in the previous season game between Kaya and Stallion did come from a Park Yi-young challenge in the midfield on A. Placito. As we see Jan Melisa on the left side, delayed and turned away by Matthew Nieras.
How easily Kaya can shift the ball from left to right, even on the attacking end.
This is honestly some of the best football that Kaya has played all season. This is it's starting to look like the Kaya that we all know.
Definitely some adjustments that they needed to establish after those series of games where while some went in their favor,
Bendiogu pushing over Matt Nieras, cutting back to an open net. 2-0 for Kaya Iloilo FC. That again looks to be
Shuto Komaki.
Shuto Komaki, Mr. Right Place, Right Time.
Second time for this game. Great assist from the debutant, Konate.
Konate Bendiogu getting the best of Matt Nieras and Cheyenne crossing it. Lucas not getting contact, but good for them because Shuto Komaki
Was wide open on the other side.
wide open, unmarked. 2-0 Kaya Iloilo FC. And I was gonna say this is a great show of character from Kaya Iloilo. They came off an emotional 2-1 win away in Hong Kong against Eastern United FC, and you would expect that they'd be emotionally spent after an experience like that. Traveling by plane, even if it's just an hour and a half, also takes a toll. But they've come out here with more energy against what should have been a well-rested Stallion side.
I think that win away recharged their spirits, which they really wanted to. If we've done it outside, then we got to do it on home turf.
And I'm sure enjoying this scoreline and this game, watching at home, expecting their first baby, and it's going to be a girl for Monica Tolentino. Paul, of course, here in the stands. Paul, the team principal of Kaya Iloilo FC. So congratulations, and let's hope that baby doesn't come in the next 32 minutes.
Stallion has some adjusting to do in their defense. And in that goal, I saw that Ivanovsky tried to play the offside trap. Unfortunately, the ball was just too quick
And we're
to be on
just
the feet of Komaki.
we're seeing the back of Coach Ernie Nieras, but I tell you, even looking at his back, I can tell you he's not happy. Again, open. Beautifully taken, left-footed curling shot into the right upright from the former Stallion Laguna player, Jan Melissa. 3-0, Kaya FC. Stallion Laguna reeling.
What a curler goal, top corner for Jan Melisa. Let's take a look at that again.
Lucas Del Rosario, challenged by Nieras. Lucas still
The
getting the best of him.
persistence, the touch. He had all the space and time in the world, but he controlled the ball perfectly for himself. He sets it up. And again, that placement of the goal. Top left corner, just curling in. And there was nothing that Roberto Llamas could do to stop that. 3-0 for Kaya.
And it was at the moment when Matt Nieras had just switched sides to the left.
What a goal.
From our vantage point, we saw that that ball curved left
Really
to right,
bent around.
at least 2 to 3 yards. Now Ivanovsky with an uncharacteristic mistake, making up for it, giving chase, but challenged by Del Rosario and Melissa. Now Roberto Llamas exposed. It's a bit of a switch. We see Christian Schaffner now switch to that left back position. Matt Nieras switching to the left half.
In that sequence of attack, we saw, although the attack was stopped by Roberto Llamas, there were two or at least two runners that were open for Kaya. So with this shift of positioning in the Stallion side, Kaya has been finding those gaps.
Oh, intramurals here between Magson Dorado and Yi Yong Park.
Yan na yung something na sinabi natin
This is
kanina.
the beginning because those challenges against each other are starting to have that little bit of extra. And you know, when you're down 3-0, you got to show that you care.
That's true. You gotta make your team, you gotta tell your team that your heart's still in it.
I mean, I can imagine when you guys were down, would have been another goal. A hat trick for Shuto Komaki, denied by Roberto Llamas, who's very unhappy with his back line. Sorry, that was Shuto that fed it across to a waiting. Sorry, that was Shuto Komaki.
Receiving a cross from Daiso Horikoshi on
From
the left
Daiso
side.
Horikoshi.
If it weren't for the presence of Roberto Llamas now, the scoreline would have been a lot higher.
Much more. And, you know, we opened this match saying that Stallion so far has been one of the stingiest defenses. And they're being exposed tonight by Kaya FC Iloilo.
On the other hand, we were also mentioning that Kaya was on the side of trying to regroup because of the recent losses and being a little bit slow in attack. But everything was overturned for us. Finding an opening on the right side for Komaki. Will this be a hat trick for him? Saved and kept out by Stallion Laguna. What a sequence that was. Take a look at that again. Just finding Komaki on the right side. He was looking for some teammates. Trying to deceive Roberto Llamas, but he took that shot. But Llamas again, just the wall in between the goal sticks.
Textbook. Right knee down from Roberto. Cut back now. Finding nobody. Looking to find Kenshiro from Finn McDaniel. So now Ivanovsky driving forward, finding Ricky. Magson. Magson sizing up Park.
Some touching and grabbing.
And not the pleasurable sort of touching and grabbing between Park Yi-young and Magson Dorado. Square ball to Charles Pickering. Control a little too far. Ball cleared out to touch.
This Kaya performance, they have been, very disciplined on the attack and in defense. On the attack, you could see at least 3 people or 4 people together in the attack, but even on defense, whenever Stallion transitions, they are still dominant in numbers. So there is something that changed in the mentality of this team.
A Placito with a strong arm to Janjan Melissa. Janjan no chance against that. Matt to Schaffner. Schaffner controlled too far. Park Yi-young there. Cheyenne now in the attacking midfield spot. Placito back in the center back position. Miscommunication there. Cheyenne in a spot that he's not familiar with. Or sorry. Yes, that's Cheyenne playing the 6 now. Ricky
What a
Sandra.
quick transition on the right side. Oof. Just a little bit wide. But again, that's been the second time that Komaki has been open on the right side. That was a quick transition. All the way from the left side, catching the defense of Stallion off guard. Had the ball curled to the right off that shot, would have been 4-0 in this game.
Magson cutting it through the legs of Yamazaki. Ooh, strong hip check. Magson still stays upright. Park Yi-young giving Magson no quarter. Magson not backing off either. Debutant Ben Diogu giving a good account of himself there in that left back position.
He was finding his footing in the first 5-10 minutes of the game, but after he settled in, picking up an assist in this game is a great way to start his playing minutes in Kaya.
Ball cross from Magson to Ken, squaring it back. Magson only finding Rota. Finn not getting stuck in there between Yamazaki and Rota. Ball finding Horikoshi on the left side.
Again, that shift to the right side. Really open.
And a Japanese bullet train between Horikoshi and Komaki.
What? Filthy move there. Should end with a goal. Incredible stuff from Kaya.
Park Yi-young beating 2 Stallion defenders. A fair-sized Kaya crowd celebrating this 4-0 lead over Stallion Laguna FC.
Take a look at that again. Look at the chemistry between these players. Just some nasty passing.
A very subtle drag back.
What a way to end the attack.
A subtle drag back from from Shuto Komaki to find the run of Park, who then found Janjan Melisa ready and waiting. And now some substitutions for Kaya Iloilo FC. That looks to be Lopez Mendy, who has gone in.
For our 2-time goal scorer in this game, off comes Shuto Komaki. Kaishu Yamazaki also checking off. Let's see how Stallion reacts to the outcome thus far of the game.
And looking at it from our vantage point, you were speaking of heat maps earlier, and Finn McDaniel's looks his heat map is very limited to that spot on the top of the box.
Unlike the other previous games, he would receive some long balls or some penetrating passes from his teammates, but I think the Kaya defense has kept him at bay, and they are not letting those passes come. So again, something about Coach Yoshida's plan for this game has spelled a difference compared to the other three previous teams that Stallion squared up against.
Basindangan getting that ball from Magson. Park finding Lucas Del Rosario, setting it for Janjan Melissa. Cheyenne smothering Janjan in the attempted pass.
Kaya just keeping the ball in their possession, and they do it just well.
Lucas Del Rosario also has been showing good stuff, showing that he belongs in Kaya. I mean, coming from a bottom of the league club like Maharlika, he was one of the few bright sparks in that lineup last season.
He has been very much involved in the attacks of Kaya throughout this game.
And he's shown great flexibility going from the midfield, and now he's playing the striker role.
Those are what coaches like to have in their team. A few players who are very flexible in terms of positioning. It just goes to show that they understand the game from different perspectives, which is an advantage, actually.
Again, that center channel being exposed by Janjan Melissa. Basindangan going through the back of Chris Schaffner's legs. And so A Placito here, very out of position, looking to take that free kick from the left center back position. But as we say that, 3 substitutes coming in for Stallion Laguna FC. Jesus Alonso del Mundo, Juan Trujillo and Koichi Belgira coming in for Ivanovsky, Pickering, and
Magson Dorado checked out as well.
And Magson Dorado. I mean, Magson was one of the few bright sparks.
Again, another attack from Kaya on the left side.
Matt Nieras getting down on his knees to head it away against Janjan Melissa, a familiar sparring partner. The follow through on that kick going through the tree trunks of Abe Placito. Abe going out to challenge.
We call it offside, but
Oh, it was an offside call.
Well,
Not.
we could
but
see the defender of Stallion on the right side was a bit in line.
But nonetheless, it was a raised flag from the right side linesman. Lopez Mendy heading it. Schaffner now more central. So a lot of moving around in this lineup of Stallion Laguna FC. Juan Trujillo with energy to burn. He was suspended for the last game. Not making Lopez Meni with a late challenge, but no fouls as the referee.
Got all ball in that challenge. And these additions for Stallion is framed to give them a little more firepower on top.
Del Mundo turning, facing, challenging Rota. Rota one step ahead.
Too easy for Patrick Dato. Comfortable save.
So another debutant here for Stallion Del Mundo.
Jan pressing.
Okay, Kenshiro Daniels finding some space in the middle. To Del Mundo, who's taken the spot of Max Dorado. Tough act to follow is Max Dorado. Schaffner now more central to Sandra. Sandra was looking for Belgira. Turned away by Lopez Mendy. Daniels, Nieras, Del Mundo. Back to Daniels. Daniels, Del Mundo, Sandra, Del Mundo.
Very direct to the passing, Stallion.
Quick feet by Del Mundo. Still Stallion keeping possession. Ricky Sandra looks to have been hit there. So Schaffner now in the 6th position. Javier Trujillo looking to create problems for Bendiogu in that right wing spot. Nope. Kenshiro was hoping Ricky would check back.
Pasindanan open on the right. Just cut off. Simeone Rota making his presence felt in that challenge.
Mark Swainston looks to also have checked in for Kaya FC in that sequence. Simone Rota just manhandling Ricky Sandra enough to get a foot ahead, but not too much to be called for a foul. And here's Lucas Del Rosario coming out. Sorry, and now it's Lopez Mendy checking in. So Lucas Del Rosario with a good spell earning the start for Kaya FC.
Well-deserved start.
Well deserved, and Kaya really has needed to rotate its players given the schedule that the grueling schedule that they've had the past few weeks.
At least here we're seeing the depth of their team, trying to change up a little bit the mechanics of what they have been putting up so far.
So long ball finding the head of Juan to Koichi to Juan. 3 guys, 3 Stallion players, and Patrick Dato getting a gloved right hand to that Finn McDaniel shot, turning it away just a few inches, enough to get past the right upright.
What a save. Well,
Both hands actually there for Pat.
what can they do with this in-swinger?
What they can do in this game in the next 12 minutes is try to rescue some pride. They've been taken apart by Kaya. Now Janjan. Simone's fountain of youth looks to be contagious. Janjan Melissa finding speed and form that has been missing the past few games for Kaya Iloilo FC.
And in this game, he has been showing it since the first few minutes. So,
and hasn't dropped off yet. Finn McDaniel looking to run. Del Mundo not finding that run. Bad pass picked off by Swainston. Basindangan not quite ready. Schaffner to Sandra. Sandra looking for one. Trujillo. Trujillo keeping control. Cheyenne. Trujillo. Trujillo to Sandra. Sandra. Del Mundo. Del Mundo. Del Mundo back to Daniels.
you can't seem to penetrate this defense of Kaya.
You see two distinct walls of 4 for this Kaya defense.
Very structured.
Very disciplined, very structured. Shots on target. Big disparity. 14 for Kaya FC Iloilo. 6 for Stallion Laguna FC.
In the second half, klaro nga, mas maraming chances. Si Kaya, which they have converted 4 of those. And almost converted a lot of more.
Lopez Mendy now threatening Cheyenne. Abe turning Lopez Mendy away. Schaffner challenging Park. And this game has surprised on many counts. We did say that Kaya was struggling for offense, and yet they have 14 shots on goal, converted 4. We did say that Stallion was one of the stingiest defenses so far out of 3 games, and yet they've conceded 4.
And also, we've mentioned that they have one of the most potent attacks. Yet they haven't shown, well, a few here and there clear attacks, but no goals to show for it.
Finn McDaniels with a very quiet game by his standards. I mean, this is somebody who was challenging for top goal scorer honors last season. Cheyenne with a mistake.
Punished by Mendy.
Mendy beautifully controlling for it for himself with his right foot, volleying with his left. Deserving of a replay. 5-0.
Again, you can't be making those mistakes in this high level of football because they will not go unpunished. Lopez Mendy finding that opportunity to put himself on the scorecard. Let's try to see it out again.
That was a mistake. Miss kick from Cheyenne. Jan Melissa lofting the ball over. Lopez Mendy controlling with his right. Half volley with his left. Little could Roberto Llamas do. Questions being asked of the Stallion backline. Questions being asked of the tactics in this match. And Kaya FC deservingly being the one to ask those questions. Showing their opponents tonight, the league and the fans, this is why we finished the past 2 seasons as champion. Kenshiro finding Del Mundo. Cut back. Finn McDaniel, consolation goal. 1-5. Not much of a celebration, just wanting to get back to the center spot. Ball picked out of the net by Juan Trujillo. Let's go, said Stallion. Let's go. Let's try to get a few more back. Sorry, that was Ricky Sandra. Left-footed, low cross. First time by Finn
Great contact on the ball. Purong-puro.
Purong-puro through the laces, as is his favorite.
And mind you, his body was moving backwards as he was taking that shot. So
He could have easily shot that over the goalpost. As we say that, Roberto Llamas diving bravely. No sense of self-preservation there for Roberto. We have a player down in the defensive box of Stallion. That looks to be Abe Placito. But Abe is made out of iron and gets back up.
Stallion seems to have renewed sense of energy.
Long shot. Just wide. Kenshiro Daniels. And Kenshiro is back to football. I mean, he spent several months not playing actually. And he's back here. He's back in the PFL because he's got something to prove. And he's hoping to do that with Stallion Laguna FC. And now cramps starting to creep in on the Kaya lineup. Who is down?
I mean, playing with such high intensity the past almost 2 hours in this game. You are really, it will take a toll on your physicality and your
But
health.
the one player it's not taking a toll on is 40-year-old Simone Rota. Whatever vitamins he's taking, I'd like some of that. You know, maybe something can be done about my 48-year-old body.
And he is the image of Puede Pa.
Well, I mean, kumakain din naman ako ng pasta. Pero iba si Simone Rota. So 4 minutes, 3.5 minutes to go in this match. 3.5 minutes for Stallion to salvage a bit more pride.
After a very, very long evening.
So Ken, challenged by Swainston, finding Jan Melissa. Still a lot of run left in that guy. Swainston to Lopez Mendy. Lopez Mendy back heel, nobody there. Park getting to it. Nagigil doon si Lopez Mendy. Sabi niya, ito parating na i-volley ko to.
And that's usually when you get it wrong.
Oh yes.
What an effort by Park. Just going for that ball.
Pero di ba pag naglalaro tayo, yung mga ganung bolang parating yun yung gusto ko to.
Napupuno ka ng gigil.
Oo, yan. Ball across. Del Mundo sliding to control, cutting it back.
No, the while I thought
Rota.
he was gonna slide and take that shot on the move.
I think that was the intent. But the result was a controlled ball instead of a shot. One. Crossing. Del Mundo sliding. Nakakaingit yung slide na tatayo ka eh. Di ba?
So, suabe.
Suwabe eh. Ngayon, pag nag-slide ako, hihiga na ako eh.
Wala nang tayo.
Wala nang tayo. So, Finn McDaniel with a cross. Nobody there. This is one, the size of that Stallion lineup. That spot just outside the 6-yard box. They should be attacking that.
Let's see if narinig ka nila all the way from the stands.
Sandra,
little-
back header. Finn McDaniel bounced over him. 2 to cover. Ball grazed Park Yi-young. Corner, Stallion. A little over a minute to go in regular time. Ball going over everybody. Lopez Mendy giving chase. And Koichi Belgira is not going to displace Lopez Mendy. Schaffner cutting out that ball, finding Belgira. Belgira looking to turn. Is able to do that. Schaffner getting it back from Sandra. Now Belgira.
They have a lot of men in front waiting for the cross, but just can't get the angle. They opt for the early one.
Over everybody, Del Mundo. What is the call?
We have 3 minutes of added time in this 5-1 matchup between Stallion Laguna and Kaya Iloilo. Finding Basindanan on the right side alone. He has a lot of time and space. Just couldn't connect with his teammates with that cross.
Del Mundo back to Schaffner. Schaffner. Del Mundo. Waiting too long to receive the ball. Park knowing what to do.
Kita ko sa laro ni Park, may pride na akin tong bandang to. Hindi ka talaga pwede dumaan. And he's been showing that kind of attitude against
But this is
Dorado
actually one of the better games that Park has shown this season. He's another player that struggled for form, and he's playing right back, which is not his usual position, but doing well.
very effective nonetheless.
He did have for most of the game Magson Dorado attacking him, and until recently kept the scoreline at 0 from that point of attack. Kenshiro Daniels, poor control. Jan Melissa.
Park is running on the right side. They opt to keep it.
Jan's controlling the tempo. Pat Dato off Finn McDaniel. Finn challenging for it. Ball lost in the air. And what is the call? Was there a whistle? Apparently there was, because Patrick. And we have 3 minutes of extra time.
Less than a minute to go.
Less than a minute to go until the Kaya celebration and the end of this Stallion agony. Menzi heading it. Patrick one hands it down. Kinalawit pababa. Chest pass to Park. Park. Those diagonal balls have been killing Stallion all night. Now finding the left wing of Kaya.
You have been mentioning the spaces in the defense of Stallion. And kanina pa, Kaya has been hitting those spaces. And hindi pa natin namamalayan kasi it's all the way from the other side of the pitch.
And Del Mundo offside. And when you're playing 3 at the back, you're expecting those spaces to be filled by the right. When you transition to defense, your wing players go back. So for the most part, you go to a 5 in the back.
Or it's either the 6 comes down to the middle, pushing those wing backs to the side.
Referee Clifford Daipuyat calling a halt to this game. Kaya FC Iloilo with a gift to Paul Tolentino and Monica Tolentino, who are expecting a baby. And a wonderful gift the past 2 games have been for Kaya. Winning this one 5-1 against Stallion Laguna FC.
This game was full of surprises for us. Again, we had a lot of different expectations from the start. Those expectations were just shattered within this game.
It was actually a test of character for both teams, and Kaya's the one that passed.
They turned this game into, quality output for them. 2 goals from Komaki, 2 goals from Jan Maliza, who has played the whole game without losing any energy. And fifth one from Lopez Mendy, and just one from Finn McDaniel on the 84th minute.
And these teams have only 2 days to recover because they play again on Wednesday. Um, the matches cancelled because of Typhoon Christine were rescheduled by the tournament committee to Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. So if you are looking for more football, tune in to Premier Football and the PFL's Facebook and YouTube channels to catch the live broadcasts of our games here from Rizal Memorial Stadium of the Philippines Football League. And we are waiting for our man of the match who will surely come from Kaya FC. Who it is, there are several players. But that looks to be Jan Melissa being ushered up to the interview spot by our floor director. Jan, of course, taking time to give respect to his former team, Stallion Laguna FC. Jan spent a number of years there.
What a game this has been.
And this changes things in our league table. Well, not at the top, but we're back here in the aftermath of this Kaya Iloilo versus We're back here at the aftermath of a Kaya Iloilo versus Stallion Laguna match, and we turn you over to our pitch side reporter Sidney Crespo with our man of the match. So we're all still reeling from that result, as well as our microphone at the pitch side reporter. As we mentioned, we have games coming up this Tuesday and Wednesday here at the Rizal Memorial Stadium. Those games originally scheduled for that weekend that had the effects of Typhoon Christine.
This game started off with naputol kumbaga because of the weather disturbance, but it came back more exciting, where again our expectations were shattered by both teams. Again, it's a game of character, and at the end of the day, Kaya won this match and really proved everyone why in the past few years they have been at the top of this league.
Okay, so at this point, watch our social media feeds for announcements and the schedule of the upcoming games. On behalf of the Philippines Football League and Matchday Media, this has been Dennis Lucindo on the call together with Jed Diamante. It's been a pleasure, Jed. Looking to see you more in the coming weekends, and all our fans and viewers of the Philippines Football League. Good night.